Hello and welcome back to the Play weekly live show with me, Adam Burt. I'm hoping that on the line we have Dan Thomas. Dan, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hopefully people at home can hear you as well. If you're watching, if you're in the chat, let us know if you can hear Dan. That'd be really helpful. Some technical issues we were just having during that last segment. So we're just going to roll like this. You can look at me and you can listen to Dan.
It's like the best of both worlds.
Exactly. Dan, you are here to talk to us about a new stream that you've started doing on Tuesdays, which is looking at the Steam releases and basically assessing how good their release marketing is, taking a look at their social accounts, and we just wanted to get you on the show really to talk about what those Tuesday shows are like and maybe give a little flavour to the folks at home what they can expect from that kind of stream. Are you happy to do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we can see in the background here, we have the ICO Steam newsletter that we've mentioned a couple of times. And basically, if you sign up to this, what you get is every Monday a lovely email which just lists all of the games that have been released on Steam in the past week. And I am a weird geek and am really fascinated by this and kind of the trends that you see, and most staggeringly the volume of games that are released every single week. So we can see at the moment we're looking at 148 games released in the last 7 days. And then when you see it scrolling down, you can see that 148 is actually kind of like a mediocre volume, and quite often it's well over 200. So yeah, we were discussing about how the fact we only do this one stream a week. We want to try and increase our streaming frequency, our expertise with it, try and reach a broader audience with our content. And so we figured, why not do something out of hours? Obviously today is in the middle of the working day, so we do understand that we're extremely privileged for the folks that give us their attention. So we thought we'd try an evening one as well, just to mix it up a bit. So that's basically what I do, is look at this newsletter and then we pick a few examples from it. What we tend to do, I mean, we've done 2 of them, so this is all open to change and evolution as we go. That's how we roll. We'll dive in and we'll figure it out as we go. But we look at a couple of the ones at the top of the newsletter. So what are the best performers for this week? And then we try and look at, okay, what have they done? So as you said, initially we'll look at their Steam store presence, try and get a gauge of how's this game doing. Then we try and just do a little bit of research and see what may have led them to being at the top of this week's game releases. And then conversely to that, we also go down to the bottom of the list, which, as you can see, that there are a lot of games every week that have. So I should mention the list is ordered by number of reviews, and we know through various sort of bits of research that various people have done that it stands to reason as well, there's a correlation between the number of reviews and the number of sales a game has had. And there's a lot of games, as we can see, that have 0 reviews. So that's a game that somebody has put some time and effort into, got it into the Steam store, released it, and potentially nobody. I think it's kind of very, very crudely 50 sales to 1 review. So between 0 and 50 sales for a game that somebody's released. So we also look at the lower performing ones and try and see what are the differences between the high performers and the low performers. So I think one of the last week we looked at the number 1 performers was a game called Doki Doki, or Doki Doki. Apologies, I don't know how they pronounce it. And that was quite interesting. That did reasonably well, 3,000 odd reviews, I think it was. And it was interesting to look into that, and we discovered that it was actually a remaster or an updated release of a game that was previously a free to play title. So that was interesting. So we could learn that the free game gave it an audience, they established themselves, and then they've launched a paid for game, and for that week it was the most successful game. And then we dug into their website. They had a really nice website. Had a look at their Steam store presence, which was okay. It had a really nice trailer, but perhaps not too much attention given to the Steam store page, which is well worth putting a bit of consideration to. And a decent social following as well for the game studio behind it.
I've actually heard of this game before. I've heard of Doki Doki Literature Club. Does that make me a wrong one?
No. It's very cool actually. I was quite surprised. I kind of looked at it. I was like, oh god, this is gonna be a really cringy, like hentai, awkward. But actually, it's quite a popular title. And yeah, it's a psychological thriller, but it's all like pink and frilly and schoolgirls, which I really liked. So that was an interesting one. And so we just starting to piece together what is it that they do that makes them stand out. And then the next week, which was just on Tuesday, just gone. I forget the name of the game now. Eastern something or another was the
Eastern
the game
Exorcist
that was
is the next one.
Eastern Exorcist. Yes, yeah. So let's have a look at Eastern Exorcist. So that was again another popular title. Well, interesting with that one, the week there was a few more sort of fairly big games, but Eastern Exorcist stood out against a couple of. There was actually a Monster Hunter title released as well, but Eastern Exorcist outperformed that, which is quite surprising. Because obviously Capcom and Monster Hunter is a huge game at the moment, so we looked into why is that, and kind of picked a few holes in why the Monster Hunter Stories 2 release maybe didn't do. I mean, obviously we can only glean so much insight from what we can find on publicly available information, but yeah, we kind of dug into it and had a look and drew some conclusions, and yeah, we find some cool looking games, and then the last thing that I do, and this time was the first time we actually dove into this, we look at the bottom of the list, as I said, and we had a look at a bunch of the less successful titles, and then landed on a game called Tiny Hunter that I actually went off and purchased, and then had a hilarious hour trying to play this really difficult 2D platformer. But it was a very good game, thank you, Tony. It was a lot of fun. I was terrible at it, which maybe added to the hilarity of watching me make a fool of myself. But it was a really great game. So there's this kind of myth of all you've got to do is just make a good game. And Tiny Hunter was a good game. It's lots of fun, very, very well put together. There was a speed running mode and leaderboards. As you can see, a trailer, a considered store page. So a lot of people think that the kind of the non-performers that get released, these 150, 200 games that get released, there's a lot of perhaps spyware and viruses and asset flips, but it's not as prolific as you might think. And actually, there are some really good games that people have worked really hard on, but perhaps just haven't quite found their footing in terms of getting the promotion right for it. So yeah, that's the gist of it. It's every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. I'm going to stick to. We're going to keep doing it until I get booed off stage. May look to try and get some guests in the future. There's certainly some experts I'd love to get involved, people who are expert in store page presentation, or maybe get some perhaps like influencer community management perspectives from people. And that's what we're doing. So you should definitely come and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So every Tuesday, 7:30. If you like the look of any of that, if you like delving into Steam store pages and checking out new games, it's a great way to see what's come out in the week, because it's fast moving. A lot comes out every week, and Dan's got all the info, all the insight, and you can watch him be terrible at brand new games as well. Who doesn't want to do that on a Tuesday evening? I know that I do. Thank you, Dan, for joining us.
You're very welcome.